Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Football Analytics. It's been a long minute since I've done a last video. Obviously, it's almost been a year, so it actually motivated me to get back. I saw all your messages that you left on YouTube and the ones that reached out on Gmail. So yeah, let's see how long I last this time, but now I'm back. And throughout this time, hope you guys been doing well and didn't lose all your money on this game, basically. So let's start with the favorite league that I love to cover the most. It's the Serie A. I'm straight doing the games for Saturday and Sunday. We're gonna skip the Lecce Udinese game on Friday. So let's begin with Como Napoli, the early game on Sunday. I actually really like the odds for this game. So look, it's quite simple here. Napoli is battling for the Scudetto. They have 3 draws in a row. Unfortunate one, of course, against Lazio, where they conceded almost on the last minutes of the game. Same thing with Roma, then they drew against Udinese. So if they want to win the Scudetto, they'll have to win games against Como. Because remember, after Como, they're facing Inter. That's going to be basically the Scudetto game. So let's check out the odds, what the bookies are giving us now for Napoli. If you've been following this channel, I only bet on goals instead of outcomes of games, and get a website that has this bet over 1 goal. It's currently at 153. Basically, if Napoli score 1 goal, you get your money back. And if they score 2, that's when you will win the bet. But here, I always say don't bet on the outcomes, but bookies are giving us really tasty odds. Look at this. At Napoli, odds for Napoli are currently at 210. Some other bookmakers have it at 220, even over. And the only risk is it's a 12:30 game, the earlier game. Usually there's a couple of sensations happening. But my reasoning here is I don't think Napoli is going to go 4 games in a row without winning in the Serie A. If they're for real about this, come on, Conte is their coach. He's a Serie A merchant, Scudetto merchant. So I see Napoli winning this game. The only issue Napoli is also facing, they sold Kvaratskhelia to PSG as their winger. Then David Neres just got injured for about a month. So they got Okafor from Milan. Maybe he's going to be playing. So, but anyway, Como lost 3 in a row. Then they had the huge game against Fiorentina, 2-0 victory. But it's all about Napoli here, guys. So I'm looking at odds either 210, which I will not be taking, but this is really not a bad bet to go with Napoli to win the game. But this is really safer odds here, like Napoli just to score over 1 goal. And yeah, if you don't have the website, of course, you can go over 0.5, which means Napoli just to score, but odds are too low. If you're betting live, maybe you can wait for them to score. That's also an option. So yeah, first pick, Napoli over 1 goal. Then let's see what else is there. On Sunday, the next game is Verona Fiorentina at 3 o'clock. The stat here is basically this one. I call it the FAR chart, meaning when a team doesn't do something for a long time. And here, Verona hasn't scored in a really long time at home. Look at this. They've been blanked 4 games in a row. 0-5, 0-3, 0-0, 0-1, also against the top team. So I think they're going to be scoring against Fiorentina. Fiorentina's been a really weird team. They did a really good transfer market in January. They got mostly offensive players. Also in midfield, they got, I think, Fagioli, then Zaniolo for the attack. And Verona is still battling for the relegation spot. Look, I'm just going here with the stat, guys. I don't think Verona is going to go 5 games in a row without scoring. So let's check what the bookies are giving for over 0.5. You see, Verona just to score at 153. You have the option of going over 1, odds are over 2. That's what we're going to be aiming more on this channel, to try to get odds closer to 2 so you can like double up your money. I don't think they're going to be winning this game, so don't forget about the outcomes here. So just Verona to score here is at 153. Of course, I don't like betting against good teams, but Fiorentina has been shaky. They did really well against Inter, both of the games, even they lost one of them. Then they wet the bet against Como. But here, we just need Verona to score 1 goal. That's all we need. Come on, are they going to go 5 games in a row without scoring at home? So yeah, that's the second tip. Okay, what else we've got? Then Empoli, Atalanta. By the way, I'm recording this before whatever happened with the Atalanta Bruges game. You all saw it. Just read the news about Gasperini saying that Lookman is the worst penalty taker that they had, which is freaking crazy. He's their best player by far. Let's see how Atalanta comes out in this game, because this game could either make their season or break it. They're still in the race for the Scudetto. They have nothing to play for anymore in the Champions League, while Inter still has, also Juventus, depending how they're going to play against PSV. I'm kind of recording this video early. Yeah, so they're still in the race, and they'll have to win against Empoli. But let me tell you something. Atalanta's defense has been absolutely trash. Even though they didn't concede, that's what I'm actually looking at. They didn't concede in Serie A for 2 games. They played 0-0 against Cagliari, really disappointing. Hopefully you didn't take that game. And then they won 0-5 against Verona. So they didn't concede 2 games in a row. Then Empoli also didn't score 2 games in a row. If you're going to go with the FAR charts, if we're going to look at the stats, guys, Empoli is actually not a bad team. They didn't score the last game against Milan, but I think they've been scoring almost every single game except the last 2. Look at this. They 4-1, 1-1, 3-1. Mostly of the games were BTTS. So look, let's check the odds if it's worth even going for Empoli. I still think Atalanta is going to win this game, but should be TTS is at 182 right now. Yeah, that's not a bad option. Let's see what they're giving us for Empoli. That's also not bad. Empoli just to score. Let's see how Atalanta responds, but BTTS is not a bad option at 182. See for yourself. But yeah, either Empoli over 0.5, meaning to score, or BTTS. That's something to look into. Okay, so to go through the games really fast again. So we have Napoli over 1, Verona to score, and then here either BTTS or Empoli to score. Okay, let's get back to Saturday. Let's shoot it as no, we're not taking this. Parma, Bologna. I'm just waiting for Bologna to have a stinker. Look at their streak. They still haven't lost a game, so they're due for a stinker. And Parma lost 4 games in a row. Looks like they might be going to Serie B, which is pretty crazy. I hope they don't. But yeah, they're fighting for it. Bologna has been really solid, but I'm waiting for a stinker. Let's see what they're giving us for Parma to score. Yeah, Parma, Bologna. Parma, that's too low. You see Parma to score 144, that's too low, you know. Also 195 over 1, that's too low. I'm not going to be taking this game, but in the next few games, Bologna is going to lose a game. That's what I can tell you. Let's check their next matchup. So they got Parma, then they got Milan, and then Cagliari. So yeah, so they're going to be losing one of those 3 games for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if Parma scores over 1 goal if you want to get the odds closer to 2, but not taking this game. Then we've got Venezia, Lazio. Venezia lost 3 in a row, I believe. Yep. Lazio is still battling for a Champions League spot. Let's check the odds for this game. Let's see. What are they giving us for? Yeah, that's too low. You see, it's not even interesting. I'm not going to risk taking over 1.5. You see, on this channel, guys, all we care about is for one team to score 1 goal. All we're focused is on 1 goal, either over 0.5 or over 1. We're not going over it. So even if our team loses 1-7, we don't care. We just need 1 goal. And we need to figure out the teams that are going to be scoring, whether it's through streaks, players being injured for the other side, but we really need to focus on that, and that's what we're going to be doing on this channel. So yeah, no, Venezia, Lazio, nothing interesting. Torino, Milan, that's such a dumb game. Last weekend, that was free money on Torino because Bologna actually didn't concede in so long. Here, let me show you the stats. Like, for example, that's where the FAR chart works. Let's see, results for Bologna. Look, before Torino scoring, they had 0-0, 0-1, 2-0. They went 3 matches without conceding, so it's normal that Torino would score. And the odds were, I can't recall, but it was, I think, around 180 for Torino to score, I believe. Yeah, 176 or something like that. So, okay, Inter Genoa, another tricky game. Inter has to win if they still want to be in the Scudetto race, but really tricky game because Genoa usually performs well against Inter. Look at the last results: 2-2, 2-1, 1-1, 0-0, 4-0 Inter, 3-0. Okay, but the last few results, yeah. Again, avoiding this game. Cagliari, Juve, no, again, dumb game. Now, Monday night, just like Bologna, I'm waiting. I feel like Roma is really overrated still. I feel like they're going to have a stinker soon, like a sensation is going to happen. And this might be the game. Look at the odds for Monza here. 10 to win the game. Let's see what they're giving Monza, because Monza is basically out. They just got back Nesta as the coach, but Monza need to start winning games. Yeah, they're dead last, 14 points. They drew last game against Lecce. Wait, let's see their streak. What's going on with Monza? Okay, head to head. Let's close this. Okay, so what's Monza been doing? Yeah, pretty terrible. Last time they won was against Fiorentina, but look at those losses. So feels like this type of sensation game. Let's see what they would give for Monza just to score. Should be closer to 2. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the goals section. 190 currently. This is actually not a bad bet. BTTS 209, but it's worth just going over 0.5 Monza just to score. Look, I'm recording this video before Roma is playing against Porto. So let's see what happens there. But look into it. If Roma advances against Porto, they're due for a stinker. I think their team is still pretty bum and highly overrated. I really like Ranieri as the coach, but look, yeah, the last 5, they're due for a loss. So whether it's going to be against Monza or somebody else, let's just quickly check their next fixtures. Yeah, so they got Porto. Yeah, look, Monza, Como, Empoli. Yeah, I'm calling it, or Cagliari. For sure, they're going to be losing some games here. Whether Monza, Como, or Empoli, somebody's going to beat Roma for sure. They're due for a stinker. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to try to cook up also videos for the Premier League and some other leagues and try to do this on a more consistent basis. So thanks a lot for reaching out again. Hopefully we stay more of a consistent channel about those betting picks. But yeah, guys, don't risk too much. Like, forget about outcomes of the games. Just focus on a team getting a goal for pretty good odds, and try to bet on single games, because you're not going to win those papers where you put like 5 games in a row. Like, you are good at betting, but just, it's normal. It's like a lottery. You put 10 games, of course, one of them is going to be wrong. So yeah, focus on betting less games. Yeah, don't chase really high odds. Just be smart about it. So anyway, as I said, thanks for reaching out, and I'm going to be seeing you soon in the next one. Adios, guys.